Happy New Year everybody, it's the 2nd of January 2026. Why am I standing in front of my Christmas tree when Christmas has already passed? Because I can, because I absolutely love it, and because it's getting to that time where I've got to take it down. So I thought this will probably be the last video with it in, so I thought I would just stand next to it and feel the love just for a little bit longer. So today I'm going to share with you some of my mindfulness goals going ahead for 2026. Let's take a look. Okay. Welcome back to the channel. As I said, Happy New Year. If we've met before, it is lovely to see you again. Thank you for coming back. If you haven't been before and this is your first time, thank you for stopping by to see what goes on here, and it is absolutely lovely to meet you. So today I just wanted to talk to you about a few of my mindfulness goals for 2026. Now, I'm not a person that makes New Year's resolutions. I've stumbled with those many times over the years. I never stick to them. So I kind of look at them now. I suppose they're resolutions in a way, but they're goals, and I try and keep them doable. So, you know, yes, I'd like to lose a little bit of weight. I'd like to do that, but I don't tend to make those sorts of goals because those are the ones that put pressure on you, and it just doesn't work for me. So I don't really sort of go down that thing. So mindfulness point number one for me is to be a little bit kinder to myself. I think, like a lot of us, I rush around all the time. I worry about bills. I worry about all the stuff I'm not getting done. I worry about the car going wrong because obviously I'm a driving instructor, and that's a big event for me if that goes wrong. It's all about me trying to take life just a little bit more gentle. Just telling myself that, you know what, you don't have to fill every single minute of your day with things that you must be doing or things you must be worrying about. I'm one of those people, I hate being bored. And I think that's sometimes where I slip up, because I feel that if I'm not doing something, I'm going to be bored. So I will constantly be either sorting my diary out, doing lesson plans, working out the next craft, working out my next strategy for the future, all that sort of thing. Sometimes it does you good just to sit, take a few deep breaths. You can either just sit there in complete silence, just have a little think about things. You can go for a nice walk. You can sit down and just read a book. I mean, I never do things like that. The only time really that I would read a book is when I go to bed, just before I go to sleep. And to be honest with you, I'm so tired most of the time, I just go straight to sleep anyway. So that doesn't get done either. So I'm going to try and make time for myself just every now and then, just to say stop, take a big deep breath. Because also I think in the long run, you end up achieving more with your work stuff and that if you've given your mind a little bit of a break. When I say that, I do think it's also very important. What I'm going to try and do for myself is not to pick up the phone and start scrolling. Now, that's something I do. And I even I'll sit down with a cup of tea and think, oh, I'm going to give myself 10 minutes treat and scroll on social media. Disaster. Inevitably, 45 minutes, an hour later, I'm still there. My mind's all like mushy. I haven't achieved anything. Whatever it was I thought I might go on to look at, I've got sidetracked by all the animal reels and all the bits and pieces that I love looking at, and I've achieved absolutely nothing. So I am going to really try and cut down on that. I listened to something this morning, in fact, on YouTube that was saying one of the best ways to do that is actually to remove all the social media apps just from your lock screen or your screen that you see when you go on. Which I think is a really good idea, because then you've got to work a little bit harder to go on. So if you want to go on Instagram, you've got to, you know, work your way to it. And this person was saying, you know, they soon realised that actually they didn't want to be on it that much because they just couldn't be bothered to search for it. So I'm not sure I'm brave enough to quite do that yet, but I might give it a go. I'll see how I get on with that. So that's my number one thing. Try and be a little bit kinder to yourself. Give yourself a little bit more time to just think and recalibrate sometimes. Another thing, so point 2 I'm going to do is, I am 62 years old. I am by no means an old lady. The number's big, but I don't feel it up here. And I'm reasonably active. However, My job being a driving instructor does mean that I'm essentially sitting down for most of my working day. And you do get a bit stiff and creaky and all those sorts of things. But what I found I do, many people say I walk very tall anyway. I'm quite tall, but I've always walked reasonably straight back with my shoulders back and everything like that. But what I have got into the habit of doing now is when I get up, I literally get up off a chair and I'm like, ooh, even if it doesn't hurt, I've got into the habit of going, ooh, and then kind of like staggering across the room a little bit. I'm really making an effort now from today to stand up, go tall straight away. And I don't mean stand up quickly so that all the blood drains from your head. I don't mean that. Just get up at your normal pace, but rather than just like hobbling across the room to get my cup of tea or something like that and like, don't. It sets your mind into the wrong sort of mindset. You know, I'm tall. There's nothing wrong with me at all apart from a little bit of stiffness. You feel so much better. Just hold everything in, just stand up, walk across the room, get your cup of tea, come, sit back down again. So just trying to be a little bit less like a little old lady when I stand up. Number 3, thinking about what comes out of my mouth before it does. Now, I am the first to admit I've got a horrible temper. You know, I do flip very quickly. I wouldn't say it's a horrible temper so much as I've got a short fuse. And I'm very aware. Not when I'm teaching. That's the most bizarre thing. I'm actually very, very calm when I'm teaching, and that's been pointed out quite a lot of times. So how I carry that off, I don't know. But in my everyday life, I can be a little bit short-fused, and I do find myself blowing up, and I hear words coming out of my mouth, and sometimes they're directed at other people. And afterwards, most of the time, I'll think about it a couple of hours later and think, do you know what, that wasn't very nice. What would it be like if someone had spoken to me like that? And it wouldn't be very nice at all. And it's all very well to say that and think, oh no, I'll think about what comes out of my mouth. But it's actually really, really hard to do. So that's probably going to be one of my hardest things. And not just thinking about what comes out of your mouth, but also what you're thinking about, the thoughts you're thinking. You know, a lot of the times, even if you don't verbalize it, you can be thinking sort of really mean thoughts about people. Sometimes they're justified maybe, but a lot of the time they're not. You can be thinking a lot about things from the past, mistakes you've made, things that have been horrible, things that have gone on horribly in the family, things like that. And those, when you think like that, certainly for me, I find that drags me right down and my vibration goes really, really low. And that can actually ruin a whole day for me. If I bring up something from the past out of nowhere, or something triggers a memory, and I'll be thinking on it and festering on it and thinking how it's not fair and I didn't deserve it and what did I do, and da 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 da. And there is no point. The point is, we cannot change the past. We can change the future. We can change how we behave going forward in the future. And it's learning to try and forgive yourself for past mistakes. We've all made mistakes. My God, I have made some mistakes. I have behaved appallingly, you know, over my last 62 years. I've done some things I am not proud of. I am not proud of at all. But I've learned very quickly that if I torture myself for those mistakes for the rest of time, it's going to ruin my life going forward. And it's not a case of saying, oh, well, it's in the past, I've done it, doesn't matter. Of course it matters, but you've got to ask yourself, would you do it again? And if the answer is yes, then you really haven't learned anything from it. If the answer is no, then that is all you can do. I would not repeat that mistake again. So that's how I'm going to move forward with my life. And I believe that then raises your vibration, and then you put that out, you get much better things coming back at you, because that's one of the things I truly, truly believe. And the next point, which is quite important to me this year, I'm very, very keen to get my Reiki qualifications. I don't want to be a Reiki practitioner. It's not to use, it's not to make into a business. It's something I've always been incredibly interested in. It's something I have gained a lot of help from when I have Reiki treatments myself. And it's just something I would like to do, particularly if I get my Reiki 1. Even if I only get my Reiki 1, that means I can use Reiki on myself. It means I can use Reiki on my family. It's something I believe is very, very powerful. But ultimately, I'd like to go all the way and become a Reiki master. But whether that happens or not, I don't know. But that's my goal. I'm really going to try and put that into action this year. Again, it's come under one of those things. Just haven't given myself time. I'm always too busy. No, make the time. That's the only way you're going to do it. Make the time, put it in your diary, get it done. So that's it. Yes, I would like to become a Reiki master. So those are kind of like some of my mindfulness goals, along with walking a lot more, live in West Cornwall, Southwest Cornwall. It's beautiful. Do I make the most of it? No, I do not. I come home from work, I'm tired, I flop. No, come home from work, get your boots on, get whatever the time of year is, get out, just go and have a good stroll, clear all those cobwebs. So that I've got to make myself do, whatever the weather. That's going to be a hard one though. So that is it for this episode. Now, the next episode, I'm going to talk about goal setting, practical goal setting for the year. And I'm going to share with you how I am going to, I'm not quite sure actually yet because I haven't actually made it. I'll probably make it with you guys, whether I'm going to make a mood board or a mood book. I'm erring on the side of like a sort of mood scrapbook. But I'd like to talk you through some of my practical goals and maybe give you some little ideas about how you go about making your own little vision boards or mood books or whatever. A lot of people like to do it online or on a tablet using Canva, that sort of stuff. That's fine. You know, whatever is best for you. For me, I like physical things, and because I like crafting, it means I can get my glue out and I can do all those sorts of things. So thank you so much for listening to me ramble on. Again, happy 2026. I hope that this year brings us all everything that we deserve, brings all of our dreams true. I feel very, very strongly that it is going to be a good year for all of us. That's my telephone. That's my cue to go. Thanks so much for watching.